It's kind of the story of, is this a flash-in-the-pan run for the Taiwanese Protoss? Or is he going full Super Saiyan here? Can he run through Bunny on his way to the qualifying match? In the top left here, teammates actually, the Taiwanese Protoss at the top left. It is nice.
Their logos have comboed together to make the Mega Lightning
The Mega Lightning Bolts.
In the bottom right, our red Terran player part of KaiZ Gaming, it is Bunny.
He always looks like he means business.
He does, doesn't he? He's got one of those faces where he's always very excited to just beat up some Protoss players.
So you also mentioned, I remember you mentioning this to Muslim actually, that Nice actually has a pretty good record against Bunny.
Yeah, so Nice doesn't do as badly as everyone thinks he should in these online cups, right?
Yep.
Nice has consistently lately been beating players like, I feel like a lot of players, like, maybe take it like 1 year ago, 2 years ago, Nice shows up to these online events and it's like he drops out first round. Now and then he takes a map. Lately, yeah, sure, he doesn't go winning Kung Fu Cups, he doesn't go winning Alima Leagues, but he shows up and he takes series, he has deep runs, he makes round of 8s, he gets into the semifinals. And he does it off beating players along the lines of Bunny, right? Yeah, he's not out here beating Innovation every day of the week, but Bunny is the sort of player who I think struggles with the way that Nice plays.
The good thing about Triton here for the Protosses is that it's quite easy to get that Reaper wall off there. Don't need multiple structures other than the pylon and a single gateway or cyber core. So it is going to be a Reaper opening here for Bunny, a Reaper fast expand. All pretty standard stuff. Triton, one of those maps where it felt like Terran didn't really like playing Protoss on it for quite a while, but I guess, a little more comfortable with this map the later the season went. Terran's actually win rate-wise not doing too bad here.
Yeah, it's one of those maps where it's kind of weird when you take your third base because it sort of puts you in a really exposed position because when you defend the third, your opponent pushing into the third base usually has a disadvantage, but on this map they kind of push into a nice spaced out area so they get a concave. And it's almost like pushing down the ramp helps you out because then you have the ramp to back up. So if you get chased, suddenly you have high ground as the aggressor. So it's it's one of those maps which has that sort of weird feature. So a little bit different, a little bit unique. And like you say, they can have an effect on a TVP.
Yeah, it's not a very long map, but I always look at it as a thick map, you know, with possibly 2 or 3 Cs.
2 or 3 Cs. Maybe 2.5.
2.5 Cs, damn.
Yeah,
well, Adept, it's just sort of getting rid of this Reaper here. The Reaper hasn't seen a whole lot apart from the Adept. He doesn't know if it's a Stargate build or if there's like multiple gateways. He's really got not a whole lot of information from Nice at all.
It is an early sentry, which is obviously going to say, I can get a hallucination across the map quickly so you can pick up some info, which then goes into Twilight Council as well, so we'll see where this goes. Starts with a Stalker. There is always the possibility of this not just being Blink, but being something like a Dark Shrine very quickly in the game. So with Nice, you've always got to expect the more aggressive option almost. So, you know, it could be there, could be an option, as we'll see what Nice decides to do. Now, don't get me wrong, Nice can actually play a bit more straight up than we're giving him credit for as well. Sometimes he can just go Blink, get into some Stalkers, and yeah, maybe a more aggressive variety of a mid-game Stalkers, whereas armor upgrades are more about the Zealots, which is, you know, then Zealot and Archon. So interesting to see this being really kind of an attack upgrade priority, and we'll see how heavy that goes in Stalkers lately. But right now it's just Zealots and Zealots. We've got a big drop on the left and a Protoss army on the right. Heavy base trade time.
And also a Protoss army on the left, man. He's about to come in from 2 sides of that Protoss army. Yeah, both players are about to take a ton of damage. A lot of charge lots got warped in at that 3rd or rather 4th base location for Bunny. Big drop in the main. The Stalker's ready for it though. Great catch from Nice, but does he have enough to actually fight the unloaded units? This charge lot warp in looks pretty convincing.
Yeah, the problem is over in the natural expansion right for Bunny. He's got so many Zealots there, and there's Zealots in the main base. He's losing so many SCVs. He sent the SCVs down to the natural, but the Zealots killing them there already. Now the Warp Prism's in the 3rd, and this drop is not doing enough, Maynard.
Absolutely not. Nice taking an incredible trade there. We knew they were both going to take damage. The question was how much, and Nice absolutely on top of these trades. Going to get the tank as well. That's always lovely. And there's just not that much bio remaining for Bunny at all. He has all those upgrades, but unfortunately, just too much Warp Gate production, and the Protoss hitting at the perfect time to do critical damage to the Terran.
Yeah, it really was, and it's just Bunny sent a bit too much across the map. Fortunately, that Prism does live there, and as these units come across now, you've killed a lot of workers. I do wonder how much you need to attack right now, because army supplies are still similar. It just feels if you attack now, maybe you're not taking advantage of having killed those workers, but Nice's worker count's only at 49. It's not super crazy. Here we go. Perhaps diving on in.
The more aggressive players generally feel like, hey, if I don't have to play the longer game, then I won't play the longer game. I'll just try and win it right here. And I think Nice believes in his production. He believes in his power of his forces there. Force field's kicking in as well to catch a bit of the fire on the front line. There is a bit of a choke point right now with the Zealots getting funneled in. The Stalker count not super high, but that Archon doing its bonus damage to Bio. Absolutely hammering these units, and he's about to have +2 attack as well. Looks like Nice might actually be able to just cleave through here.
Love that second force field in the back. It messed up so many Marauders as GG is called, and Nice will take game number 1. Gets
high fives.
Five. He doesn't care. You think it's fun. Kind of a madman, really.
It's a crazy
you kind of have to be to load up all your medevacs and doom drop every game, but you know.
That is true. Bunny, like a lot of players have a spirit animal in the game. I feel like for me, parting. For Patience, it's like the Blink Stalker. For me, parting, it's like a bunch of sentries and a couple of mortals.
Bunny is
for Bunny, it's the medevac.
Yeah. What's Nice's spirit animal?
Nicest spirit animal? Let's say the Warp Prism. But I feel, but that's such an easy response though, because there's so many Protosses that their spirit animal could be the Warp Prism, you know.
But I feel like his Warp Prism is one which is like, all horns blaring, let's go in and kill the guy.
Yeah, it's got like flags hanging out the side.
Not so much like the sick immortal micro, like trying to, We'll see what happens in this game number 2, because right now, Nice just expands nice and quickly, not even a Cybercore first, which isn't too weird considering the fact that this is Eternal Empire, right? Rush distance for an Adept or so, going to be longer anyways. Why rush out the Cybercore if you can get the Nexus up?
Indeed. And just the same as Game 1 here for the Terran Reaper Fast Expand, the most standard of standard TVP openers. Nice hiding his probe down here to avoid the Reaper, I suppose. Just gonna put a pylon down.
Yeah, it's actually one of these weird maps where you can hide your tech in your own natural.
Yeah,
so it's true. And it's one of those things where the Terran, your natural instinct is to go check the main base, right?
Of course.
So if you're so worried about the main base, and then it's actually it's right there, and it's just got so much space to work with. So we'll keep our eye on that position. I mean, it's not going to be anything super quick, and Adept Warp Gate will start here initially. As Bunny checks in, but he misses. He realizes there's a pylon missing, right?
Yeah.
So it's already alarm bells ringing, and that might even mean you can see the Reaper, I think, is already moving around looking for the proxy.
Yeah, I mean, Nice could actually do nothing with this pylon. We could be just reading into it, but Bunny is doing the same thing right now. He's like, oh, second pylon's missing, bunch of gateways, and he's switching gears into a big ground pound force. Lots of gateways, charge, +1 attack again, so foregoing armor instead of for attack here for the Zealots, which does really assist the Colossi, so it makes a ton of sense.
Yeah,
Mapu zooming in on Bird for some reason. Thank you, Mapu.
As 5 extra gates come up and Temple Archive starts, we're getting a really normal game out of Nice. Like, I know maybe it wasn't the most standard comp to get there, but he really isn't afraid of eventually making this a very standard composition. He's not relying on just the kind of the weirdness of Phoenix Colossi and, oh, do you know how to build double starport reactor Vikings? Like, he's not relying on that kind of gimmick. He's just saying, yeah, this is my way to play the mid game, but eventually I'm just going to play Storm and Colossi, maybe 1-2 more Colossi, we get some Disruptors in here, and he's done it in a way that puts him into a good position to play that later game.
Nice actually gearing up for that 4th Nexus here, playing as macro as we've seen Nice in a little bit. And Bunny is loading up those units for a drop to start hitting the Protoss back for all that econ damage, and really wants to slow down that probe count. It's coming back again. The turret just a second away from finishing there. It's always annoying. And they are still doing their job, these Phoenixes. Very nice stuff from Nice, keeping Bunny pinned. Bunny's not comfortable to move out just yet, apart from just going for drops. But the drops, I mean, the good news for Bunny is he knows the Phoenixes are over there, so he can send his drop down the left side and have a high percentage chance of it not getting picked off.
The only negative of dropping here really is the fact that once the drop is figured out, none of those units are going to be kept alive, right?
No, they do not go home. Yeah. This is a one-way ticket.
Exactly. It's not one of those styles where it's like, oh yeah, I can drop the main and then, I'm going to outplay you, I'm going to go to the 3rd base. Like, it just doesn't happen. It's that is a dead Phoenix though, and the less Phoenix on the map, the more you can drop as well, of course. Hallucination. He'll try and get in the main. He just wants to get an idea as to what's building. He wants to see, is it, how many Vikings are you building? Are you building Liberators? Is there Fusion Core? Like, how crazy on the bio are you going? Are you still building mines? There's so many questions to ask.
And Nice is super out of position to actually stop this bio force, so he might have to cancel this 4th Nexus. He really can't save it. So he's going to actually let it finish, which is a kill for Bunny. He's going to kill this Nexus for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely perfect, right? Because, okay, maybe this now doesn't get away because you can't lift up. You're going to get chased down. But the 4th base is like a real killer move. You shut that down, slow down the Protoss economy a little bit. There's the attempt to lift and get out of there.
Phoenix says nope.
Yeah, you can try boost the other way, but the Colossi are there as well. Man, back is so fast.
He's trying so hard to get out of there.
So hard. I mean, this is just nice. One single bit of vision on this left side of the map would have helped him so much with that. And unfortunately, it means his fourth base time gets reset. As Bunny now getting those ghosts up, and enhanced shockwave starting too. So just typical Viking Ghost. And as the game progresses, the step after this from Bunny, once he gets Viking Ghost up, the only real step after this is a Fusion Core and Liberators, so you can start going into Advanced Ballistic Liberators.
And this is the part of the game where I feel like this is a lot more comfortable for Bunny. You know, he's getting to play the game that he likes to play, which is that mid to late game TVP. Nice. We've seen some late game games from him, but he definitely feels a lot more comfortable in that weird, scrappy early mid game. So this is something where I would feel confident as Bunny. Starting to get that production up. He's massaging his composition to be a little bit more effective against what he knows Nice has. And, you know, everything is about a minute or so away from being very scary for Nice as far as an engagement goes.
That said, right, it's not a ton of Vikings, because he stopped Viking production to afford Ghosts. And as the Warp Prism goes in the main base, it should be able to get over the...
Oopsie daisies.
That was a bit of indecision where if he just keeps going, at least he unloads the Zealots, right? But even still, I'm not sure the Viking Khan is there to deal with what has been consistent Colossus production. This wasn't just 3 and cut it out.
That is true.
It's been a little bit more than that. So that will hurt perhaps, as now just sort of set up, yeah, it's 4 Colossi. And it is just, it sounds crazy, but that 1 extra Colossus, especially with Phoenix to help against the Vikings, means 8 Vikings is not really the answer.
You're absolutely right, and we're getting to that phase of the game which, well, we're seeing so many times now PVTs. We've had a lot of PVTs in the mainstream, but so many times when the Protoss gets those Disruptors up, and if the Terran really isn't on the ball, the Disruptor is not only a game ender, but a real problem for someone that can't control their bio and isn't paying attention to their army. 1 split second, your army can disappear.
And Nice just does not stop expanding. He just lost the 4th base, remember, and guess what, Maynard? He's on 5 now. You know, you kill off 1 Nexus, they come back again.
It's like the Hydra. Cut one head off, 2 take its place.
Exactly. But he's also investing in production, right? 2nd Robo facility coming down. Dark Shrine says harassment is only going to get stronger as well. And while I don't disagree, Bunny's doing the right things, I just feel Nice is just so ready for all the things that Bunny is doing, right?
But, like, Nice is playing a very solid game here. It looks extremely, like, it doesn't look comfortable at all for Bunny at this point. Like, neither player is in an incredible spot. We do have a push here from Nice with Bunny's forces on that front line. The Vikings actually paying attention to the Phoenixes here, which means these Colossi are getting a lot of swipes off on that bio on the ground. They really killed quite a bit there on the ground for Bunny.
Yeah, a couple of EMPs were kind of scary though, so the Archons have to back away. The Zealots on the natural expansion didn't really do much either, so Nice has like quite a big drop in supply all of a sudden. And it's just those little bits and pieces. Disruptor's not really finding much bar, a missile turret or 2, so just trying to push this back. I mean, Bunny's going to chase, but I'm not convinced that's going to be bio. He wants the Disruptor, which he will get. And actually, Colossus taking damage too. That's a Disruptor shot, and it will not go off. Wow. It did, it missed anyway.
It was like a millisecond there between that being bad for Bunny or bad for Nice.
Yeah.
He did get the Disruptor at the last second. Oh, Shadow Stride also being researched here for Nice. And you were mentioning Harassment Wardy. That's one of the best upgrades for it. To always blink out of that scan radius, to always blink away from bio, to keep those DTs alive and healthy while they continue to pick off SCVs in production. So, Nice. I mean, the good news for Bunny here is that he's been spamming turrets because of what he's been up against, like a lot of Colossi, and also just trying to fight back the Protoss. Oh, an engagement here with the Phoenixes, actually, not the Phoenixes, the Vikings picking off the Colossus one after another there. That's a really good couple volleys there from Bunny.
That was kind of a real bit messy, actually, from Nice, right? He just doesn't have a way to get the Stalkers underneath the Vikings properly. Now dropping to the natural at the same time, and he will be forced to recall just the Colossi.
2 Colossi?
Yeah.
Marauders say yes, please.
that's not what you want to kind of recall there, as you see the Stalkers blink in.
There we go.
Empty medevac for... Oh, no way, no. Okay. Bunny didn't deserve to get out with that.
Yeah.
He already had his fun.
Yeah.
Oh, fight in the top right-hand side as well, breaking out a little bit. Zealots will go counter-attacking. I mean, this is the great part of this map, though. It's still so hard for Bunny to find into Nice, even though he's just had a good couple moments. And now the Zealots strike the bottom left with GTs, and there really isn't much there where they're going. Hello, Disruptors too? Okay, this is just getting messy all over the place. As Nice is taking the horrendous fight down this ramp through this choke point. But you know what, Maynard? It's kind of working.
Somehow, some way, he went into a funnel against the Terran with siege tanks, bio, EMPs, and punches his way through. The way out is through, says Nice, and this harassment is still not dealt with, Wardy. The rallied out units just don't seem to be anywhere near enough. Chargelot's just picking a different angle, going to rejoin that force, and maybe even catches Bunny on his way back home. Yeah, these Marauders getting hacked and slashed there.
They killed the base on the low ground too, so while he's taken base number 6, Bunny has 4 bases. If you can argue the bottom right base is a base, sure, but that doesn't last for long if Nice figures it out.
Wow.
Libs are not really in position, so they go down, and Bunny is kind of struggling for numbers.
This is looking so good for Nice. He is ahead here, Bunny against the ropes. The Colossus starting to join in, and with +3 attack, that thing is swiping through that bio with its 2/2 upgrades. Oh, Colossus moving to the safety here. In come the Disruptors. The Disruptors quite exposed, so that is a nice pick off there for Bunny, but it's still, even with the Protoss units remaining, it still looks very, very rough. SCV's being pulled off the line to try and assist. The Archon here, the Protoss army in general, very, very quick through those SCVs. So much damage has been done here. Can Nice save any of these units?
Yeah, he's going to get away with at least the Stalkers, right? He just got a bit cornered in. He just doesn't have reinforcements coming through, right? Because he had no War Prison there or anything. Now they show up, he's going to start fighting this CC, and I guess he can because Bunny's working with so little and overly stimmed units that he can't chase in once the Zealots are there. So that's another CC down. And remember, Nice is mining off 68 workers on multiple bases, so he has economy for days in comparison to what Bunny has to work with here.
You're absolutely right, and he's just fixed his saturation. The macro of Nice this late game is looking so fantastic. Bunny is going to have a Hail Mary game from here on out. He is getting pretty broke as far as minerals go. His gas is climbing, but is at this point for a Terran that is hard to spend. For Nice, he's going to start throwing in some High Templar, get some Archons in, get a few more Colossus. He's even researching Plasma Shields here to make sure that everything in the Protoss' infrastructure and army is enhanced just that little bit more. The DT that could, unfortunately going straight next to a turret and 5 Liberators.
I do like the drops, right? The medevac's moving out because if there's one way Bunny gets back into this a bit, it's starting to pull Nice around. And Nice has had a weakness to drops this game. 2-3 times, they've been the thing that has actually dealt damage. So maybe, but at the same time, you've got to have the units to kind of defend over here. This is a wall off, but once this wall goes down, the Liberators probably just about cover it, huh? As these medevacs, they actually flew over a base. That's what Bunny thinks right now. He doesn't even think that base is there, as he does arrive on what was the 4th base originally, and is now going to get some probes and force a recall.
Yeah, forces the recall, so he's just going to pick up and get out of dodge. Prism going towards that natural once again, meeting a bunch of turrets, so Nice decides this time to pull back. And he's forcing in some defensive warp-ins, gets 13 probes, not bad at all for Bunny. But as we look, it's still 49 SCVs against 62 probes, Woody. It's still, 6 Nexus against a barely 4-base Terran. He did at least re-secure that 4th base.
Bunny is all in on Liberators almost, right? Like, if these Liberators don't work out for him, he's in so much trouble. Because he needs them to hold areas. He needs Nice to not be able to clean them up quickly. And he can use them a bit for harassment too. Very frustrating with the advanced ballistics and the extra range. So now, what was the drops now is Liberators, a bit of harassment, keeps Nice back. And if you can get enough Libs up so that Nice can't take a fight, this is the kind of map where Libs will take bases for you.
Absolutely. They are very, very good. Even when you're attacking with Liberators, because of some of the choke points as you're getting closer and closer to your opponent, the Liberators can be really, really effective, like that area we saw a big engagement between Bunny and Nice earlier. And he just made one Phoenix, just one, to force this medevac to die.
It's like, oh yeah, one Phoenix, I'm not worried, into like 20 Stalkers. Well, there's a Warp Prism in the, there's a medevac in the top as well as a couple of Liberators are once again heading out to harass. But those are expensive harassing units when you are lower on the economy, right? So don't get me wrong, it's nice to be dealing this damage, and this one's very effective because the Stalker's misblinked, but it's the kind of thing that is still not free for Bunny to do. It's still costing him hundreds of minerals and gas at a time. As that one goes down, this job over here takes a bit longer to be dealt with.
Quite a few Stalkers with these Marauders.
Yeah. It's these little fights that Nice is kind of messing up that's probably giving Bunny the most hope out of everything. But remember, Nice is still maxed out with money in the bank.
Yeah, 2k minerals and about 1,000 gas as well. You could definitely remake a lot of Zealots here, or even throw in a few Archons for good measure. And that is scary for Bunny. If Bunny takes a bad fight, Nice can overwhelm him with just sheer money and production. Speaking of overwhelming, he's showing up at that planetary here. The Terran army out of position for a second, so it shows up to the fight. Oh, Nice is engaging right next to this planetary. This actually looks like it might be all right for Bunny.
Wasn't convinced about the blink into the bio when you need to get towards the Liberators. I love this, though. We haven't seen this right out of Nice. An attempt to Warp Prison the main, or a successful attempt to Warp Prison the main. And that is slowing down some of the reproduction here. And guess who is back on the bottom side? It is Nice. And he is going to take down these couple of Liberators, but there is Libs on the top as well, don't forget. And they are dealing absolutely masses of damage. The Stalkers blink in, the Archon helping. It's masses of Zealot to take down the 4th base. And as the 4th base will fall, it was expensive from Nice, but remember, he's got money he can spend.
He certainly can. That was incredibly expensive for Nice, though. He lost all his Colossi. He lost his Archons as well. So,
but you say that actually, a couple moments ago, Nice was only 2,000 resources lost behind, and he's only 3,000 now, so it's not like it was like, oh my god, he lost everything, and Bunny lost nothing. So that's worth keeping in mind, because it looks scary when you see supply plummeting like that, but he is rebuilding now, and he had, you remember earlier, we talked about investing into robots, etc. He's got that production to rebuild. If I'm Nice, I think okay, he has a recourse, so you don't have to give up this base, but you could give up this base and just sort of kill the other base because you're in position, so then you kind of reset Bunny to 0 economy, and you have the top left coming up. Instead, he's going to come in and he's going to flank, and so he's going to take this army down, perhaps.
He certainly is. Those Zealots really pushing back that front line. The Cloak Ghost doing some free DPS. Doesn't look like there's any detection here for Nice. So they are doing some damage for the back line, but does it matter, though, is the big question. The main brunt of the force, the main DPS here from Bunny, is getting thinned out by the Gateway forces. Nice still with more money, is able to reproduce. He's getting a ton of Stalkers here, and looks like he wants to counterattack one more time and punish Bunny for having basically Liberators as a backbone.
Those Ghosts dropped EMPs and they ran out of energy, so all of a sudden the next thing you know, wasn't looking so great. As Zealots come pushing through, a few Marauders here, a couple Stalkers out of range of Liberators, but the Marauders targeting them down, so the Liberators will survive this. Nice is still so kind of low on supply because he's trading out so much every time. He's going to avoid the Planetary Fortress and fight on this high ground. He blinks for the Liberators here. He gets one, he gets two, and now it's just bio units against Archon, Stalkers, Zealots, and a Disruptor.
And that is not a winning equation here for Bunny. He's going to have to GG in a time when he's Protoss. He ain't just a flash in the pan. He is absolutely crushing this bracket, and he is going to find himself in a qualification match instantly, leaving his desk over there for the handshake.
That is actually kind of crazy. Teammates going up against each other is always a fun story, but do you ever see the underdog coming out? Well, this is probably a big one, and
it's
Nice,
quite rare.
Great. I mean, this is great to see on a LAN event for Nice as well, because he really has been putting in the work online, and since then, it's the sort of result you can kind of like, if you look at online results, you can kind of say you expect it, but then does he deliver offline? Well, today he absolutely has. Qualification match now up against her.